Cool. Good stuff. How's everybody doing? Nobody's in here yet. Just alone with my thoughts. Groovy Goose is the only one here. If you're still watching Groovy Goose, no, I don't think Carlos Correa is going to sign with the Astros. Maybe he will. He did post a photo. No, he didn't post it. It was Martin Maldonado, the Astros catcher, posted a photo of the two of them together. So there's still a chance. There's a chance he'll stay in Houston, but I'm not betting on it at this point. I did just see Freddie Freeman's probably not staying with Atlanta, huh? Isn't that pretty surprising? He's been with the Braves his whole career, hasn't he? Am I wrong about that? Maybe I'm wrong about that. But it feels like Freddie Freeman's been in Atlanta for a long, long time. And I saw they signed Olsen from Oakland. So it sounds like they at least have a contingency plan. Or I don't know. I feel like that move probably means Freddie Freeman. They're expecting Freddie Freeman to walk away. Baseball, baby. It was fun. It was actually being out in Phoenix this weekend. You know, spring training, half the league goes down to Florida. The other half goes to like the Phoenix area mostly. And I was talking to a bunch of people, like that town, a lot of people in that town really love March because they love spring training. There's games all over the place. Tons of teams have facilities all around town. I was talking to a Lyft driver that I was riding with this weekend, and he was just like, oh yeah, I love driving around, like prospects, like teenagers that just got their first paycheck and they don't even know what's going on. They're just thrilled to be there. It's baseball season's fun. There's a charm. There's a timeless charm about baseball. That, you know, obviously not everybody gets. Baseball's kind of a weird sport when you think about it. Yeah, every sport can be boiled down to something really lame, like NASCAR, just guys driving in circles for 4 hours. But, you know, baseball, guys hitting a ball with a stick, like why is that entertaining? Like anything can be boiled down to sound boring and lame. But like in baseball's case, there's so many intricate details about it that I feel like it's the most complicated like major sport, at least in the United States. Like as far as like the rules, all the stats, everything about baseball just feels so darn complicated. The unwritten rules. Anyway, I don't know why we're talking about baseball. The first comment I saw tonight was about baseball. That's why we're talking about baseball. So anytime I do these streams, got to get here early. And we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Fishing is the most complicated pro sport. Danny. That's the most Danny comment I've ever gotten, I think, on a video. Oh, I believe you. Fishing's very complicated. I'm sure it's like picking the time of day, certain lakes, certain rivers, certain areas. I'm sure it's much more complicated than it appears. I'll give you that. Thank you, Groovy Goose. First one in here. First one to Super Chat as well. Appreciate it. Calling my shot. Chase Elliott wins Atlanta. Just watch. He hasn't won on an oval. I know the TV keeps talking about it. He hasn't won on an oval in over a year since Phoenix in November. So could we call it an upset if he wins this weekend? Oh, my goodness. Thank you, GM. Pretty stacked weekend of racing all around the world. Yeah, F1 opens this weekend as well, correct? What's with the IndyCar rumors? I saw David Land tweeting about it, Adam Stern reporting that Texas Motor Speedway might get ripped from the schedule after this year. I can't say IndyCar fans will be sad to see it go. Like that track is worse for IndyCar somehow than it is for NASCAR at this point. I don't know how it's possible, but it is. But, geez. Texas Motor Speedway, man. I understand why Eddie Gossage semi-retired last year. I don't think now's not a good time to be, to hitch your wagon to Texas Motor Speedway. Thanks, Inside Uranus. Good to see you. I haven't done a live stream in like months, I swear. So it's good to see some familiar faces that I'm used to seeing in these live streams, but it's been a long time. Dodgeball is the most complicated sport. Facts. Might be. Is there a professional dodgeball out there? There has to be somewhere. It may not even be televised. Is there a professional dodgeball league where people actually get paid to play dodgeball? Is that a thing? Because if so, I'd love to watch it. I'd love to see strategy. I see like clips on YouTube or TikTok, some like crazy dodgeball highlights, but like they all look like they're taking place in like a high school gym. So it's like I can't believe this is professional. This must just be like a rec league, you know? Thank you. Oh my gosh, Sinaska Finch. Oh my gosh. Fitch. Thank you for the super chat. I'm sorry if I pronounced your username. I apologize. But thank you so much for the super chat. Good to see all you guys. There's one on trampolines too. Yeah, I've seen that on TikTok or somewhere. I've seen guys on trampolines hurling dodgeballs at each other's heads. That's some cool stuff. That'd be fun to watch. If that's not professional at this point, it should be. Are you going to any April races? That's when my birthday is. Well, happy early birthday, Mr. Sizzle Fingers. Love that name. Happy early birthday. Yes, I will be at Martinsville. That is the current plan. I'll be at Martinsville in April. That's probably the only April race I will be at. It'll be my first trip out to Martinsville. I was planning it just a few weeks ago. I'm excited. A little stressed. It's always stressful when you go to a new track, a new state. I don't think I've ever been to Virginia, come to think of it. Maybe I've driven through briefly at some point or another, but I don't think I've ever been to Virginia either. So exciting stuff. I'll be there. Thank you for the super chat. Jace122. Bubba takes Atlanta, and golf is racing with 9 to 18 stage breaks. That's an interesting comparison. Yeah, I mean, you got to take some time to walk from one hole to the next. Built-in stage breaks, I guess. A little caution period in between holes. I don't watch a lot of golf, but when golf is on TV, golf is actually surprisingly interesting to watch on television. I haven't watched golf in a long time, but in the past when I was younger and I'd be flipping through the channels on a lazy Sunday or Saturday afternoon or something, you land on golf for a while, and they do a great job of just, they cut to a new hole, new person like there's always somebody taking some shot somewhere, so there's always something to watch. There's not a lot of breaks for the TV viewer watching golf, and I think that's good. It keeps it engaging, keeps things moving along at a nice pace. Golf, I feel like it's stereotyped as a slow, boring, just guy hits it and they walk kind of sport. But it's TV at least doesn't make it look that way. Thanks, Redline Motors. Appreciate the super chat. Who wins their first race next, Chastain or Reddick? I feel like Reddick's the easy answer, but man, he's been fast and hasn't been able to seal the deal yet. And now Chastain's starting to encroach on his territory, starting to run top 5. I could see Chastain beating him to the punch, but I would bet on Reddick. Thank you, Scrapyard. Saw that at the NHRA Gator Nationals that one of the drivers took an RC boat to a nearby pond only for it to get chomped by a gator. I mean, it's the Gator Nationals. What do they expect? I don't know anything about the NHRA Gator Nationals. I assume it takes place in Florida. I only lived in Florida for a few months, but I was told, one of my first things I was told was, hey, assume every freshwater body of water has gators in it. Like, just assume. So, yikes. I assume they got that on camera. That's at least a cool highlight. Probably not the most nutritious meal for an alligator to be eating, though. Metal and plastic. Thank you, Vote Kyle 3000. Hope to see you at COTA. If you've been to Bristol, it's hard not to accidentally end up in Virginia. Okay, I have been to Bristol. I probably accidentally dipped my toe into Virginia at some point. But I don't know. Every time I've been to Bristol, I've come at it from the Tennessee side. So I don't know. I don't think I've really ever gone much further north past the track. So I still may have avoided Virginia. But we'll see. That's obviously going to change here in a month or so. Thank you, Eric Esparza. Do you think they'll make Trevor Bayne full-time? Probably not this year. I assume they have other drivers lined up for the 18 car at some point or another this year. I mean, it's the all-star car. I imagine, even though Kyle Busch may not run any races there, I'm sure they're going to have some other drivers. They've already had Drew Dollar made a start. Didn't last very long, but Drew Dollar's already run a race this year. I don't know who else is running the 18 this year, but I don't think they're going to make Bayne full-time. I love seeing him up front, though. I think even though he's missed 1 or 2 races this year already, I think he's like 10th or 12th in points. So he's been at least very solid the races he's done so far. I like to see that. Thank you, Redline Motors. Any plans to come to New Hampshire soon? It's about as far out of the way as NASCAR tracks get from where I live, but maybe someday. There's a possibility. You never know. I'm never going to say never. I didn't expect to be at Phoenix coming into this year, but lo and behold, the whole Ghost deal came together not last minute. It came together over the span of about a month, and once I got involved, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to Phoenix. I got to see this thing. Thank you, Ethan Kane. Are competition cautions just permanent for TV now, or what? I think, wasn't this the first competition caution of the year? Did they do one at Vegas or Fontana? They might have done one at Vegas or Fontana. They haven't done it every race this year. I'll give them that. I agree they're kind of a waste of time at this point more often than not, especially now that they do get at least a little bit of practice, kind of, sort of. But yeah, TV, I'm sure TV likes them. Patrick, thank you for the 20. Really appreciate the very generous super chat. It's been a long time since I've streamed, man. I really appreciate all the generosity so far. You guys are amazing. Appreciate all the comments. But thank you, Patrick. Really need to get you out to a dirt track near you. I've been to a couple, not in about a year. It's been about a year since I went to a dirt race, but I've been to a couple World of Outlaws races, both in Texas. I went to Cotton Bowl Speedway. It's kind of in between. It's on the way to Austin. It's sort of in between Houston and Austin a little bit. And then I've been to up in Dallas, Devil's Bowl Speedway. I went to a race there a couple years ago. Both are really cool. Devil's Bowl, it earns the name because most stadiums, most racetracks especially, the grandstands face in such a way that as the sun goes down, usually it sets behind you. Not at Devil's Bowl Speedway. This must be where it got the name because they set up the grandstands so the sun sets right in front of you. Like, why would they do that? Most of the racing obviously happens at night when the sun's already down, but when you first get there, it's like, oh my goodness. I don't know if I'll be back at Devil's Bowl, although it was a pretty nice facility. Other than that, we'll see. But yeah, I definitely got to get to another dirt race. Got to see some more dirt racing. I say this every year. I feel like I almost pulled the trigger on the Chili Bowl this year. I've never been to Oklahoma. I've lived in Texas almost my whole life. I've never been to Oklahoma. It's right there. I mean, Texas is huge, but it's right there, and I've never been. I would love to go to the Chili Bowl at some point. That sounds like that would be intense. Thank you, Groovy Goose. What if NASCAR did brackets for playoffs like the NCAA? Don't give them any ideas, Groovy Goose. They're finally starting to figure out this current format. Don't give them any ideas. Thank you, Lobster Red. I appreciate the super chat. Looking very delicious tonight. Thank you, Matthew Chesterton. I appreciate, in your opinion, who could fill the shoes of M&M's? You might have seen it this past week at Phoenix. I think Stanley Tools, Stanley DeWalt, they own the Stanley, DeWalt, and I think they even own the Craftsman, and they own all those brands. They seem to be heavily involved, like very committed to NASCAR, and especially to Joe Gibbs Racing right now. Give Matt Kenseth some credit. He brought them to Joe Gibbs Racing, as far as I remember. He brought them there in 2015, 2016, but they've stuck around since then. And we've seen Stanley Tools on Kyle Busch's car. We've now seen DeWalt on Kyle Busch's car. We've seen DeWalt on Martin Truex Jr.'s car last year for a race. Maybe Stanley Tools steps up a little bit. I think Interstate Batteries will still be there. They're still going to need probably another pretty major brand to fill at least a third or so, at least a good portion of the schedule. Still, they're going to need another big company, but I feel like Stanley Tools is going to continue to step up a little bit, which is cool. I love to see it. I've talked about this on streams before, but I have an old race program from the first race I went to in 2005, and it had all 10 of the Chase drivers on the cover. And you look at all the sponsors on those hoods. You saw the Miller Lite car with Rusty Wallace, the Lowe's car, the Home Depot car, DuPont. I guess DuPont is still technically in the sport with Axalta, but like aside from, 2005, I don't remember if DuPont was. Anyway, Home Depot, all those other sponsors out of the sport, largely if not entirely. But DeWalt, Matt Kenseth's DeWalt car there, still in the sport and still in a big way. I think that's pretty cool that DeWalt Power Tools and Stanley, that whole brand, they've stuck around. Even though they bounced between a few drivers now, I think it's cool that they've stuck around as long as they have. Monster Energy could step up for Kyle Busch. I feel like there's maybe a conflict of interest there with Rowdy Energy now, especially. But Kyle Busch he's been all over the place. Didn't he had a NOS deal at one point? He's had Monster Energy at another point. I don't know if are they like owned by the same company? I have no idea. Anyway, he's had NOS, he's had Monster Energy. Now he's got his own Rowdy. And if I remember him talking about Rowdy, I don't think it's associated with Monster Energy, but I think if I remember, he said he hired the guy who used to be like one of the head developer kind of guys at Monster Energy to help him run Rowdy. I don't know if that means it's affiliated with Monster, if this is a completely separate thing, just he brought some of those people over. I don't know, but I don't think we'll see another energy drink on Kyle Busch's car. How's it going, Lada Dev? Hope I'm saying that right. Do you have a favorite F1 team? I don't, not at this point. Monster Bull. Oh, yeah, I guess Monster is owned by Coke. I should have known that. Yeah, Monster is owned by Coke. I don't think they own NOS. Is NOS owned by somebody else? Who owns NOS? Somebody Google this for me. Kyle Busch has driven a Sport Clips car before. Yeah, Sport Clips. They've also been around Joe Gibbs Racing for a while. They've been on Ty Gibbs' car this past weekend. All right, let me catch back up with some super chats. Trying to bounce between the super chats and the regular chat as much as I can. Caleb, good to see you, Caleb. Yo, Eric, Caleb, the Disney cast member here. Big news, I just accepted an inside sales role with NASCAR. Can't be more happy to work for this company. That's awesome, Caleb. Heck yeah, from Disney to NASCAR, that's like my dream career path right there. That's awesome, Caleb. Well, best of luck in the new role. I think you're going to kill it. That's fantastic. Love to hear that. That's so cool. Thank you, Lobster Red, for another $1.32 super chat. Appreciate it. Patrick Lundy, thank you. I race. Would be cool to get you to see what all I go through in a race night. And I raced the shootout this past year. Oh, sweet. Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure you could tell some pretty remarkable stories. I have a ton of respect for people who race anything from local short tracks to obviously NASCAR. You got to respect that. But the grind is real. That'd be a really cool story. Yeah. Thank you, MJ Parts. What is that? A hippopotamus? It says get good. I being trolled? What's happening here? Oh, man. Well, thank you anyways, MJ Parts. I appreciate the super sticker. Thank you, Jacob Solomon. Any hope of the current TMS layout being any good? Might be fine. I think the next gen raced pretty well at Las Vegas, and I think Las Vegas is probably the closest thing we have on the schedule now to Texas. It's not really the same, but it's probably the closest. And Las Vegas was a great race, so I'm not going to say Texas will be great, but Texas might be a little better than it's been in recent years. I'll at least keep my fingers crossed and hope for that. Thank you, Christopher. Any thoughts on Larson, my favorite driver? LOL. Yeah, I think he's great. I think he's maybe the best driver in the world. I don't know. That's probably naive to say, but I think he's certainly the best driver in America. At least when we talk about it on an all-around basis. The guy he won a World of Outlaws feature Saturday night, flew back from California to Phoenix overnight, started at the rear in the Cup Series, and was in the top 10 by the end of stage 1. I know he blew an engine later on, but Kyle Larson's unreal. I know people get tired. Some people get tired of us, right? Like, Kyle Larson, wow, you can do it all. But it is remarkable. Like, it's hard not to continue to take notice of it. Thank you, Brian Griffin, Family Guy fan. Hashtag Ukraine Strong. Thank you for the $2 Canadian. I really appreciate that. And thank you, Sin, I'm so sorry. He's making fun of me now. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I apologize. I'm so sorry. You think NASCAR might have been a year early with the best season ever marketing? It wasn't NASCAR, if I remember. It was Fox. And as we all hopefully know here, I'm not a fan of Fox's production decisions over the last couple of years. So, yeah, there might have been early. So far, this year's been great. The fact that Phoenix was just okay race, wasn't amazing, it was fine. The fact that was by far the least entertaining race of the season tells me that this season's gotten off to a pretty remarkable start. So we'll see. Thank you, Smooth7. Glad to meet you Sunday. Yes, it was great to meet you as well. I've seen you in the chat countless times over the years. I really enjoy putting kind of a face to a lot of the names that I see. It's one of my favorite parts of going to the racetrack. I didn't get to spend as much time out in the fan areas this weekend at Phoenix as I would have liked to. I didn't really spend hardly any time outside the track. I was mostly there on the infield experience the whole time. But one of my favorite parts of going to races is getting to see fans and hang out and stuff like that. So next few races I go to, that's certainly going to be a point of emphasis. Thank you, Robert Summers. Will Kyle Busch win a race? Probably. I would imagine he will. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I'm pretty sure he will. Thank you, Alexander Woods. If an old sponsor came back, who would it be? I don't know. Mahindra used to be a sponsor, right? And they left, and they just came back and got a win. So maybe that'll be open the floodgates. Maybe we'll even see some of the classics. Maybe we'll see a Home Depot return one day. I'd be surprised, but I'll never say never. I'll never say never. Pepsi, Noah says in the chat, maybe Pepsi. I'd love to see the soda battles. I'd love to see. I hate when sponsors. I understand maybe they're paying a lot of money for it, but I hate when sponsors have exclusivity. Like there's only one. UPS. If we had UPS and FedEx in the Cup Series again, kind of the battle of the brands, Coke versus Pepsi. That'd be pretty cool. You kind of have at least some Monster, some NOS, which again, they may be owned by the same people. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool. Lowe's and Home Depot, obviously, they're both gone. You used to have Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light, or Budweiser. You had all sorts of beers. Now you really only got one, maybe two. No, really just one, I guess. Just Busch beer, right? So that's shocking to me. There's only one beer sponsor, major beer sponsor, really in NASCAR. I know there's some other alcohol stuff here and there. There's a little what was that, a moonshine company that was a NASCAR sponsor. There are a few others out there, kind of, sort of, but there's only one big beer sponsor in the Cup Series these days, and it's Busch Beer. I don't think Miller Lite and whatever, Keystone Light, I don't even think they have a single race this year on the 2-car or any car, so I'm pretty sure it's just Busch Beer at this point. Oh, is Keystone, are they doing an Austin Cindric race this year? They might be, actually. I do feel like I saw a photo of that. All right, so they still do one race, but that's not the same. It's not the same thing. So I think part of it is in the beer world, Miller Lite and Coors Light and Keystone Light, I think are all owned by the same people now. And obviously Busch is owned by the same people who own Budweiser and Bud Light. So it's you're not going to, if you're Anheuser-Busch, you're not going to pay all the money to have a Bud Light car over here, a Budweiser car over here, a Busch car over here. No, you're just going to pick one brand that you really want to put forward, and you're going to pay to have that one promoted, as they do with Busch. So maybe maybe it's just the alcoholic beverage industry at this point is too consolidated into just a couple big companies that there's just not enough out there. I don't know. I'm talking really fast tonight, I feel like. Why are you guys spamming Dex Season 7 in the chat? I've been noticing this, and I don't understand why. Like, are you guys asking for it? Because I did Dex Season 7, like, in 2016. Have any news on SHR merging with Dodge? I've heard nothing. I really haven't heard any. All the rumors that have been heard about SHR Dodge have purely, as far as I can tell, just been media and fan speculation. Like, it makes some sense, sure. You know, we've rattled off all the reasons why it maybe would make sense, but there's no like actual smoking gun that's like, oh, here are actual emails that are sent between SHR and Dodge. Here's an actual contract that maybe is being worked on. Like, there's not, as far as I know, there's none of that, at least not publicly disclosed at this point. So it's still speculation, but that will certainly be a big story when it, if and when it eventually comes up. I think there's a good chance Dodge will be in the NASCAR news again, you know, over the next couple of years, but will it involve SHR? No idea. Either way, any new manufacturer potentially joining the Cup Series will be big news, as it deserves to be. What races are you planning on going to this year? I will be at Circuit of the Americas in a couple of weeks. I'll be at Martinsville after that. And I'm not entirely sure when my next race will be. I'll probably be at Nashville over the summer. Maybe I'm going to go to the Throwback Darlington race. Working out some details. We'll see. Let me catch up on a few more super chats here. Coke owns NOS. Do they really? Now I have to Google this for myself. Who owns... Gosh, who owns NOS Energy? Oh, it's just formerly a property of the Coca-Cola company. It's currently produced by Monster Beverage. Wait, so isn't that still make them a part of Coke? Are Coca-Cola and Monster actually separate, just sort of partnered? I can't share my screen, but Google is giving me mixed signals. Now I'm confused. I thought Monster was straight up owned by Coke. It may not actually be. Yeah, Tyler's saying the Coke is now independent, or Monster is now independent. Okay. What was it like meeting Ghost? Seemed pretty cool. I didn't meet the actual band. Well, the band's really just Tobias and all the ghouls or whatever. I didn't meet them, but I got to meet and work with a lot of the marketing team from the record label, and they were really, really cool. We got to bring them out to the racetrack as well on Saturday. That was their first time at a NASCAR race of any kind, and I think they all had a really good time. It was fun to kind of show people around, show new people who had no knowledge of NASCAR 4 weeks ago, show them around a NASCAR race, and I think they had a great time. As far as I can tell, it was really fun. It was a really good experience. Let me catch up on a few super chats here. Groovy Goose, thank you. What's worse, Daytona Day or that desert skit? The desert skit, by far. I didn't see Fox's pre-race, but I did go back and see the bit they did with like Bob Pockris and Clint Boyer and the bouncers and stuff. Like, that was funny, but it shouldn't be on the pre-race show right before a race. Like, that's the kind of thing you could do like during the week. Like, you could maybe do it really early in the I'm not opposed to comedy. I'm opposed to everything being comedy right up to the green flag. Like, 2 hours beforehand, do it. But within that hour block leading up to the green flag, take the sport seriously. Take the sport seriously. I did think it was a very funny skit, though. It would have been better just to be put on YouTube or to be run during like Race Hub during the week. Completely would have gotten behind it then. I don't know when they ran it during the broadcast, but I imagine they ran it within like 20 minutes of the green flag. And if that's the case, that was a mistake. Thank you, Bake the Snake. Hello, good sir. Hello. It feels good to be back. Could we possibly see you at Martinsville next month? Yes, actually, I just said this, sorry. But thank you for the super chat. Yes, I will be at Martinsville next month. It'll be my first trip to the paperclip. I'm a little intimidated, honestly, but I'm very excited. Thank you, Ted Smith. Oh, let me refresh super chats. Thank you, Ted. What's next for Gregson? Does he go to Cup? He's off to a really hot start this year. What, third? I tweeted this year. Third, second, first. I think these first 4 races. If he takes a big step forward this year, if he wins 6 races, especially if he wins the championship, at least if he gets to the championship 4, I think there'll be some Cup teams that maybe ask about him. Especially they'll ask about some of those sponsors, the Bass Pro Shops, the Black Rifle Coffees. There'll be some teams that ask about Gregson and his sponsor availability. He's got a lot of Xfinity experience. What is this? This is his like 4th season, I think now, maybe 5th. It's like his 4th full-time season in the Xfinity series. Like, that's, you don't see young guys spend that much time in the Xfinity series much these days. A lot of times they're 1 and done, 2 and done. Gregson's hung around, and you know, he's improved in some areas. He's kind of just maybe stayed pretty even in others, but he hasn't regressed. At least I don't think so. He has not regressed during his time. I think overall the trend has been upward during his Xfinity Series tenure. So I think one day he'll be in the Cup Series. I don't know who with. Hendrick doesn't seem to have any spots open, and I don't think they will for the foreseeable future. I mean, unless Ally backs out, if like Ally doesn't re-sign after 2023, maybe that's bad news for Bowman. Maybe there's an opportunity for Gragson, but I think there's a chance Gragson will be in the Cup Series before then. But we'll see. Thank you, Weatherman1. Would you like to come with me to Kansas in May? I appreciate the offer, but I actually think that weekend I won't be able to. But I'd love to go to Kansas at some point. That's another track that's been on my to-do list for a long, long time. It just hasn't worked out. But maybe someday. I appreciate the offer, Weatherman. And thank you again, MJ Parts, for the super sticker. Now he's saying boss. I think I'll take that as a compliment, right? Right, cool. Thank you, DJ Curry Official. Hey, Eric, what are your thoughts on Sunday's race? Thought it was okay. Thought it was probably the first kind of meh race of the season. I did a whole video on it last night. If you want to hear my in-depth thoughts, you can check that out. But in a high-level sense, it was pretty good. Looked a lot like last year's Gen 6 races at Phoenix. And it reminded me of comments Kyle Larson, I think, made back in January during the test. He said then that the next-gen test at Phoenix was the most similar the car had felt to last year's car at that point compared to all the other places they tested it. So I think we saw that in the race on Sunday. Thank you, GN. Good to see you. What's your favorite part about Talladega Nights? I love seeing Mike Joy, Larry Mack, DW, and Bill Weber, BP, and Wally all portrayed right but with humor. I haven't seen Talladega Nights in a while. I did watch Herbie Fully Loaded again recently for the first time in years. Solid movie. Talladega Nights, man, I don't know if I have a favorite part. There are things I like about Talladega Nights. It's one of the few Will Ferrell movies I can stomach. That may be a hot take. For me with Will Ferrell, it's like Elf, Talladega Nights, and then like almost everything else down in here somewhere. Favorite part from Talladega Nights? I'll be honest. I like the line where he says the kid's gonna come at you like a spider monkey or whatever. That's one of my favorite lines. I like that line a lot. Thank you, Andrew Meyer. Phoenix is an awesome facility, but an average track. I'd agree with you there. Yeah. Like I said in my video yesterday, I think I'm a bigger Phoenix fan than a lot of people are, but I'm with you. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. 5.5 out of 10 as far as the racing is concerned. But yeah, 9, maybe even a 10 out of 10 as far as the facility. It's a very nice racetrack compared to a lot of others on the schedule. Thank you, Scott McNew. Good to see you. Great to see you, Eric. Hope all is well. What's your suggested seats for Coda? Decided to go to the F1 race this year. Oh boy, made a big investment. That's exciting, Scott. I hope you have a good time. I don't exactly know. They probably bring in some other locations, some other seating areas. Maybe it's all corporate hospitality stuff for the F1 race. But I know the couple times, I've been there a few times now for NASCAR, for IndyCar, for a couple other things as well. My favorite spot is typically I think they're the turn 12 grandstands. It's the grandstands where right before the heavy braking zone there on the back straightaway, where you can see the cars come down and brake right in front of you, and then they go out in those little twisties and then go out past the tower. You can't see the start-finish line, but you can kind of see turn 1 up the hill way out in the distance. You can see part of the S's. You basically can't see the front stretch, and you can't see the part, whatever that turn is, way off far away this way. You can't see that area, but you can see probably 65% of the track, which I feel like at a road course is pretty good. I was talking to some people. I've never been to Sonoma. I was talking to some people this weekend who'd been to Sonoma a bunch, and they were saying that like Sonoma's great, but you can only see like 10% of the track no matter where you're sitting. And I'm like, that's fine and all, but I like being able to see more action. That's why it's one of the reasons ovals are so appealing in the States. You can see pretty much everything. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate the super chat. Who's the next washed up / written off driver that will resurrect their career? Current, recently retired, or bumped down to trucks / Xfinity? Oh, that's a good question. I feel like maybe chat, give me some ideas here. Throw in some suggestions, because off the top of my head, I haven't really thought about this as like a topic, but Landon Castle is a driver I'm watching closely this year. He's a driver who, when he was a teenager, I guess he kind of had a shot with Hendrick as like a development driver, but he's like only 31, 32, if he's even that old now, and he's in a good Xfinity ride this year. Not the best, but a playoff caliber Xfinity ride. I would love to see him win a race or two this year, make the playoffs first and foremost, and maybe make a run at it late in the season. I think that's a driver who we could see kind of resurrect their career. There's a lot of guys like that in the Xfinity Series. You could say that about Anthony Alfredo, who was in Cup last year, didn't do much. He was on a team, whatever. Back in Xfinity with an okay team. See what he can do this season. We're witnessing it already with some young guys like John Hunter Nemechek, who went back down to trucks and is trying to rebuild his but he's still so young. It's not like his career is still just getting started. The chat's mentioning like AJ Allmendinger. AJ Allmendinger is kind of already in the middle of a career resurrection, and he's a great driver away from NASCAR as well. The NASCAR stuff has really just been the icing on the cake in many ways, but he did win that Cup race last year. I think to me, winning that race last year, it was kind of a wild race. I don't want to call it a fluky win, but it was kind of a fortunate win. I think winning that race cemented sort of his comeback, if you will. So there were a few. Chat's also mentioning Trevor Bayne. He's only making like 15 starts this year, and I don't know if that's going to go anywhere. He's done well so far this season, but I just don't know if it's going to go anywhere. So I'm not as confident in that pick. Ty Dillon, I don't agree with it. Ty Dillon. I'd say he could. It's great to see him full-time in Cup again. It's good to see him with a decent team. I think he had top 20 speed. I don't know where he finished, but I think he finished in the top 20. I think he finished like 15th I think it was 15th this weekend at Phoenix. That's solid. If he can crank out top 15s, top 20s on a consistent basis, that's a great season. That'd be a fantastic comeback season for Ty Dillon, and maybe we will be talking about his resurrection. Ryan Preece. That's a good answer. I think Ryan Preece is a great driver, and I think when he hopefully gets an opportunity in Cup with SHR in a couple of years, I think that's a guy who could suddenly start to win races here and there. Appreciate the suggestions. I could think of a few, but appreciate it. Yeah, Bailey Curry, P20 in the Ghost car. Yeah, that was big. Thoughts on thank you, New World Man 06. Thoughts on the Rock and Wilkesboro renovations. I haven't seen if they've really gotten started in any serious way on them, but I know the North Wilkesboro renderings that they shared a few months ago look great. I hope they happen. I hope it comes out looking like that. I'd love to see at least trucks back there in the next few years. Rockingham, I'm not as sentimental about Rockingham as other people are. I got into the sport the year Rockingham left the schedule, so it's not like I'm a big, I can't wait to go back to the Rock. But if it works out, if it makes sense, if it makes business sense, I know there's a lot of race fans in North Carolina, South Carolina, that area of the country. I know there's a lot of race fans there. But if we bring back North Wilkesboro, we bring back Rockingham, we bring back Nashville Fairgrounds, all of a sudden we're going to have a lot of races in this one area of the country. And our fans going to fill the seats for all of them? I don't know. They might. If we just agree with 20, 30, 40,000 seats max at all these places, then yeah, they probably would, maybe. I think so. But NASCAR is a nationwide sport. It is mostly popular in the Southeast, but it is a nationwide sport. And, I don't want to see us just focus on this one region entirely, if we can avoid it. Thank you, Phil Brownson. I appreciate the super chat. Go ahead and tell me that Ross won't win a Cup race this year. I dare you. Love the channel as always. Well, thank you, Phil. I think Ross has a great chance to win this year. I think if I was doing an over-under on Ross Chastain, it'd be like 0.5. Like, he's either going to win 1 or he's going to win 0. I don't really expect him to go out and win 3 races this year, but the speed we've seen at the beginning of this year from the smaller Chevy teams, RCR, Trackhouse, even Petty GMS. I don't know if Petty GMS wins a race this year, but I think Trackhouse and RCR for sure could win a race this year. Could win races. Like, I think Reddit could rattle off a couple. Dylan might even steal one. I think over at Trackhouse, Suarez has come close already, and I think Chastain's probably a little better driver than Suarez, and he's starting to get close. So, no, I don't hate that prediction at all. Thank you, Turnpike. Good to see you. Good to see you at Daytona earlier this month as well, or last month as well. Fun fact: Eric is secretly Papa Emeritus the Fourth. Yes. Can you see? Can you feel the thunder? Can you see my facial features? Magical. The face paint looks fantastic. If you guys saw my Instagram, I think I put it on Twitter as well. I put it on a few places. Bailey Curry, what a trooper. Young driver. I think a very solid up and coming driver for sure. I hope he made a name for himself this week. The dude was a trooper. We sat him down in a makeup chair for about 2 hours, and it wasn't me. It was a very talented makeup artist based in Phoenix named Jillian Rose. She did the makeup. She did the kind of skeleton Papa Emeritus ghost makeup on him, and he sat there and took it. She put prosthetics on his face. It was an ordeal. Put contacts in his eye, which he'd never done before, so that was a trip. He was fantastic. He was a really good sport about the whole partnership, the whole experience. It was really fun doing content and stuff with him. So So shout out to Bailey Curry. I know. Again, he's kind of a new driver. People maybe just now finding out who he is, but I think pay attention to Bailey Curry. He's a very solid young driver. Thank you, Nick the Stick. Thoughts on the undisputed GOAT Quinn Houff formally announcing today that he will not have a ride for any series for the 2022 season. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It needed an announcement. I saw the video, and congratulations. He said that. I believe he said he's going to be a father, right? I had the video on the background. I must admit I didn't hear it. I didn't hear exactly what he said, but congratulations are in order for that, of course, on a personal level. But on a professional level, like, I don't know that needed an announcement. Was anybody really clamoring for news on Quinn Houff? I can't say that they were, so it doesn't surprise me. But sure, Nick the Stick, yeah, undisputed GOAT without question. Question, Eric, is there a profit you get from sponsoring a NASCAR team, or is it just to put your sticker on a NASCAR car? Not entirely sure how to answer that. Like, typically companies spend money, so it's not a profit, it's an expense to get their logo on the car. But what we did this week, and I want to talk about this a little bit. What we did this weekend with Ghost was we tried to expand. We tried to activate this sponsorship, this partnership beyond just the sticker on the car. Like having your logo on a race car in front of hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, especially in the case of Cup Race, millions of people on TV. You know, that there's value in that without question. But I do think in today's day and age, there's so much more many teams and drivers can be doing to give their sponsors added value, or maybe even attract more better paying sponsors as well. Like with Ghost, we obviously had the full paint scheme. And when I say we, it wasn't exactly me. Like I work with a group called AE Engine. They help me get a lot of sponsors. They're very familiar with the NASCAR world, the NASCAR community. So they work with me and my channel sometimes. And they also, in this case, were working with JD Motorsports, and were able to. It's a long story, but anyway, we got in contact with the record label about getting Ghost on the car because they had a new album coming out. Ghost was like, yeah, they're interested. They're the ones who paid to have their logo on the hood, on the side, and everything like that. I was involved primarily from a marketing standpoint. And from that marketing standpoint, my job, my goal, and as a result, I got to have my logo on the paint scheme and everything like that, a little small part of it. My job was to activate this partnership to the best of my ability, to make it go beyond just stickers on the car, because I didn't watch the race on TV. Bailey Curry probably didn't get a lot of screen time on TV. You could probably see him in the background here and there. Maybe he was occasionally, you saw him on pit road. Like you probably caught a glimpse of him here and there, but they didn't have the camera pointed right at Bailey Curry much during the race. During qualifying, sure, but not during the race. So there's value still in that. There's certainly value there, but the value really came from all the work we did on social media, the face painting with Bailey that we put on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and everything. Ghost publishing stuff on all their massive social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, posting all sorts of content about the car, getting their fan base hyped up and excited. Did my video that we got like 40,000 people to watch here on YouTube. Most of them were NASCAR fans who maybe hadn't heard of Ghost. That was a great way to reach out to new fans. So that was where I came in, was to sort of come in here and really introduce Ghost, the rock band, into the NASCAR space. And like at the track this weekend, that's where I was there with the folks from the record label, showing them around, making sure they had a good time, introducing them to NASCAR. And I think it all went really, really well. So we did a lot of work behind the scenes and away from the racetrack to maximize that Ghost partnership with JD Motorsports. So, I think going forward, other teams can do something similar to that. I think teams have more resources at their disposal than they realize, and I think it's important to utilize them to not only attract bigger, better paying sponsors, but to also keep the sponsors you have happy. And that's why I wanted to give Bailey Curry credit for being such a good sport and going along with all of our shenanigans. Because like I know one of the videos I put on Instagram got like 70,000 views. The stuff that Ghost put on their official accounts probably got way more than that. So it reached a solid audience, and Bailey was cool enough to go along with all of it, because it's work. It's these guys want to be race car drivers. They're race car drivers first. They're not marketing guys. They're not actors. They're not they're race car drivers. So it's kind of an adjustment I think drivers are going to have to make over the next few years. And many already have. Like, I think it's cool to see so many drivers on YouTube. I know they have a whole team producing their videos for them or with them, but like, it's cool to see Kyle Busch and his son Brexton on YouTube. And it's cool to see Chase Elliott and Eric Almirola put YouTube videos out. And I'm sure there are others as well. But, I think the more drivers can create content of their own to give their sponsors added platforms and added benefit, it's good for them, it's good for their teams, and I think it's good for fans. I think we as fans of these drivers want to see more and more content, so I don't know, long story short, we have a bunch. I'll have to do some of these. We have a bunch of these leftover hero cards. We gave a lot out. Bailey signed some for fans and stuff at the track, but we still have a ton of these things around here. And I even have a lot of you guys were asking about crew shirts. I have this just sitting right here. Hasn't left my side. Look at this. Where's that? Out of the Groove logo on the sleeve. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know if we're gonna make any crew shirts to sell, but a lot of y'all have also asked about the diecast pre-orders. Ghost was selling a very limited run. I think they were selling just 500 diecast Bailey Curry diecasts, and they sold out like in 5 hours because Ghost fans are absolutely insane. But a lot of y'all have asked me if there's going to be more made. I don't know for sure, but I think there's a chance they will make maybe a couple hundred more. If that happens, I will find out immediately and will let you guys know on especially on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. So if you're still looking to get a Bailey Curry Ghost diecast, looks a little something like this right here. Oh gosh, camera. Be on the lookout. There may still be a chance. Not certain, but there may still be a chance. And if you got yours, I believe they're going to ship around Halloween, so that'll be great. That'll be good stuff. I agree, Jacob. I see Jacob Hale's comment. I think that's a good point. Yeah, the ghost thing was cool. I'll stop talking about it now. My job is done. But the album's out, and it's pretty fantastic. At least I love it. But I was already a fan of the band before this whole deal, so it was pretty cool. No, I won't be at the Atlanta race this weekend. Thoughts on the yellow line rule at Atlanta? I wish I knew how the track was going to race. Then I could tell you my opinion on it. Right now, I'm like, okay, but I also don't know how the car is going to race. I'm not convinced it's going to be a full-on Daytona pack race, but maybe I'll be surprised. That's certainly what NASCAR is trying to do. They're trying to make it a Daytona. Thank you, Turnpike. Good. Thank you for the super chat as well. Sorry to leak this. Eric is starting an OnlyFans. No, not yet. Things aren't that desperate, thankfully. Thank you, Ben Jam. Opinions on New Hampshire Motor Speedway in general. Living in New York, I went to that track for 7+ years in a row growing up. Always loved it. It's the Magic Mile. I've never been to New Hampshire, the state, period, but it's a cool track. It's unique. There's really no other track exactly like it. I didn't like it much growing up because Matt Kenseth was kind of bad at it, and then when he went to Joe Gibbs Racing, I don't know, maybe the cars were just way better, or maybe he learned something, but then Matt Kenseth became really good at New Hampshire, and then I look forward to it every year. So I have a mixed opinion about New Hampshire. I think last year's race was pretty good, despite the rain controversy at the beginning. So I'm hoping this year's race lives up to it. Thank you, Chad Sessions. One track we lost in the past 3 seasons you would bring back, and the current track you'd sacrifice. Ooh. I mean, I'd probably sacrifice Texas at this point. I don't know if there's any saving its reputation. Maybe this year's race will be fantastic with the new car, but I don't think there's any saving it. And this is excluding all other circumstances. From a business standpoint, it may make no sense to get rid of Texas. I know that's a big facility. It's a very nice facility. It probably makes no sense to tear that place down. But in my own little dream world, okay, sure, replace Texas with just in the last 3 years. So what are we talking about? Like not Rockingham, Chicagoland and Kentucky, and what else have we lost in the last 3? Daytona Road Course. Am I forgetting something? What else have we lost? Of those tracks, I'd pick Chicagoland. It's probably the only one of those tracks that I'd care to see come back. And even that I'm not that excited about. I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, Chicagoland. It's one of the better mile and a halves, but oh yeah, Indy Oval. Okay, that's true. Actually, Indy Oval would be the first track I'd want to see back. Sorry, Chicagoland. I'd rather see the Indy Oval return. And I actually liked the road course last year, despite the curb issue. I actually liked the road course last year. I'm glad they're doing it again this year, but I'd like to see the original oval, the Brickyard 400 return at some point in the near future. Thank you, Ramiz Latif. I appreciate the super chat. What is NASCAR doing wrong that F1 does right? That is a loaded question. We've talked about that a lot. Whoa. put me on the spot. The first thing, I'm just going to answer this very broadly. Firstly, it's the presentation. And some of this is NASCAR's fault, but a lot of this is out of NASCAR's control. A lot of this are the networks and the TV partners they're dealing with. But Formula One, I can't speak for Europe and other parts of the world, but in the United States, Formula One is broadcast without any commercials, commercial-free, straight through. Races are only about an hour and a half long. I think that's one thing that they have over NASCAR. I'm not saying NASCAR races should be an hour and a half, but I do think pretty much every race outside of a few crown jewels should aim to be under 3 hours in length. I think Formula One races in that respect are more digestible, commercial-free, which in 2022, when I can literally, you're watching this right now, and you might have had to click on, there might have been an ad when you first clicked on this video, but I don't think there are any mid-roll ads. So if you've been watching for the last, 45 minutes, that's 45 minutes of commercial-free content. So when you have that many commercial-free options, one tap of your finger away, full screen commercial breaks every 10, 15 laps like we see in NASCAR just aren't going to fly. It's outdated. And then lastly, the tone of the broadcast. And this is what I was trying to get to. This isn't necessarily a NASCAR problem. This is a partner, a network problem. I think Fox doesn't take NASCAR as seriously as they should. You watch a Sky Sports F1 broadcast, and it's intense. They make every lap feel like the last lap. They make every pass feel like a big deal, partially because it is. In F1, you don't get a lot of side-by-side passing the way you do in NASCAR, but they leave the audience hanging on every word. Like, that's the kind of stuff that separates F1 from NASCAR. That's very broad, and a lot of it is just presentation. F1 races are shorter, more digestible. The tone is more serious. I feel like that's the kind of stuff that NASCAR can pretty easily adapt for themselves. NASCAR can make the broadcast more serious. NASCAR, if they really want to, could shorten the races a little bit. And I think that'd be a win. The one thing that's difficult are the commercial-free stuff. I understand NASCAR, Fox is paid billions by Fox and NBC for the rights to broadcast the race, and they got to pay that bill somehow, some way. So commercials are going to be a necessary evil, at least under this current contract. But that's why, and I did a video on this a few weeks ago, come 2025 with the new TV deal, whoever NASCAR talks to, however this deal gets structured, I would love if somewhere in that contract, somewhere in writing, the new partners agree to innovate the way they show ads. Preferably no full screen commercials, at least over green flag racing. Like I think there's like an argument to be made that a side-by-side commercial is just as, if not more, valuable than a full screen interrupting commercial. Because during a side-by-side, you could argue that the TV audience may still stay in their seats. If you go to a full screen commercial, a lot of people get up, leave the room, go get a beer, go to the bathroom. But if the race is still going on, albeit in a smaller screen, guys may be glued to their seats a little bit longer. And so they won't be pulling all their attention on your ad, but there might be more people listening or at least somewhat paying attention to your ad. So obviously I'm no marketing expert. There's probably evidence out there that suggests what I just said is incorrect, but that's how I feel. I'd still like to see it, the way broadcasts are done in NASCAR, innovated here in the next few years. But that's a very broad way. I think the product in NASCAR is great right now. Some people aren't going to get past the redneck stereotype. Some people aren't going to get past the fact that it's mostly oval racing, and you're just going to have to live with that. I think the product is great. The presentation is where F1 is destroying them right now in almost every way. Chairgating podcast. Good to see you in the chat. Absolutely, definitely have to be back on your show at sometime in the near future. It was great to see you out at Daytona last month. Everyone go check out the Chairgating podcast. Thanks for the super chat, Trevor Brunell. Based on the number 8 performance this year, how do you think he will do for the rest of this year? By the way, thanks for making every video the best. Thank you, Trevor. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you to say. I think Reddick's going to win a few races, and I said it yesterday. I think he's a championship 4 contender. Obviously, the big teams may catch up. Maybe smaller teams like RCR, and I know they're not a small team, but they're not quite the same as Hendrick. Maybe RCR will fade a little bit come the summer, come the early fall. But right now, they're not showing any signs of it. Reddick has had a top 5 car in every race this year. I mean, we don't know about Daytona, but Daytona's Daytona. Every other race this year, including the Clash, Reddick has had a top 5 car. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Thank you, JC1424. Are you thinking about going to one of Kenseth's SRX races? Yes, I'll be at Nashville, more than likely. I'll be at the Nashville SRX race. I haven't bought my ticket yet. I haven't arranged my actual travel plans just yet, but I'm planning on it here very, very soon. I'm going to try and do some cool stuff out there because, yes, I have to see the Matt Kenseth experience at least one more time. At least one more time, especially if he's going to be in a yellow 17 car. Oh, the nostalgia. Thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate the super chat. When do you think Hamlin leaves JGR? End of career or pull a Tony Stewart and become an owner driver? He could. If you haven't seen it, you probably have. Most people are subscribed to Slapshoes, but Slapshoes did a really interesting video a couple days ago about the owner driver craze of the 90s and somewhat still today. Obviously, things have changed. Denny Hamlin, the 2311 situation is different than a lot of the owner driver situations in the 90s, but I don't know. I think there's a good chance Hamlin stays with JGR his whole career. Maybe when he retires from Joe Gibbs Racing, he'll still run a part-time schedule with 2311, but I don't see why. I don't think that makes sense for business. I don't think he does, but he's kind of a wacky guy. I feel like Denny Hamlin, and in some ways, Denny Hamlin, I don't know. Maybe this isn't a fair comparison. I'm trying to think if there's a better comparison. I don't know. In some ways, Denny Hamlin's almost like the Aaron Rodgers of NASCAR. Like, he wins a lot, one of the best drivers for sure, but he's kind of, like, you just don't always know what he's thinking. Like, Aaron Rodgers, I feel like nobody really knows what he's thinking. He likes to play games in the media. He likes to kind of plant seeds. He likes to kind of just say things, and you don't really know what's actually going through his head until things actually happen. Sometimes I feel that way with Denny Hamlin. He likes to talk. He's very opinionated, and sometimes he surprises you. I don't think anyone, we kind of caught wind of it early on this show, but I don't think anyone months earlier saw Michael Jordan joining Denny Hamlin in the Cup Series. I don't think anyone saw that coming. So sometimes he's full of surprises. So I see my comparison in the chat is a mix. I see literally back-to-back comments. One says that is a perfect comparison. The very next one says nope, not at all. So I don't know if that was a great comparison. I don't watch a lot of NFL, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers is in the news a lot these days for whatever. He just signed like a bajillion-dollar contract or something. But I think Hamlin's a great driver. I just think he's unpredictable. That was my point. It's hard to always know what he's exactly thinking. But yeah. Thank you, Xavier Castro. If you could watch one NASCAR race for the rest of your life, what would it be? Love your channel. Thank you, Xavier. I appreciate that. One race for the rest of my life. I might say the 2012 Daytona 500. Just because Matt Kenseth won. And it was a long race. Obviously had a lot of wacky things going on in it. A lot of funny moments there in the broadcast during the red flags and everything. So I'd probably say that. Is that the best race I've ever seen? No, probably not. But it's my favorite for sentimental reasons. Thank you, the Dom Goblin. Thank you for the 10. I really appreciate that very generous super chat. I said F it and bought a ticket to the championship race. Getting an infield pass. Ooh, will be my first infield experience. Got a free place to stay, so screw it. Got to get a ghost diecast when people resell. I'm sure someone will resell it out there, but that's awesome, Dom Goblin. I'm sure you'll enjoy the championship weekend. That's nice. That sounds like you had a place to stay. It made sense there. The infield experience is cool at Phoenix. I think it is. It's pretty neat. You can see you can't go into the Cup Series garage, but you can go basically right up into the garage stalls. There's just a little small fence between you and the car, 6 feet away. So it's a pretty cool experience, and everything feels very new in there. I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of negative things to say about the Phoenix infield, other than maybe the concession prices are a little pricey. But other than that, Phoenix is great. I had a blast last year for the championship, and this last week just for a regular season race. So I think you're gonna have a good time. Appreciate the super chat, and yeah, hopefully we get back to selling some more Ghost diecasts close to the price they initially were at. But yeah, I'm sure some will be available at some point. Just gotta be sneaky. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate the super chat. Are you planning on going to Gateway this year? No, I don't think I'll be at Gateway. I thought about it. It is cool that Cup is racing there, but it's not. It's kind of. I don't remember. There's a reason I couldn't go. I thought about it. I think I had a conflict, a personal conflict, that prevented me from going. And I wasn't really itching to go. Regardless, it'll be fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch on TV. But it's kind of out of the way for me, and we've seen Gateway before, it's not like it's brand new to NASCAR. It's just new in this case to the Cup Series. The worst race you've attended? Ooh, probably one of the Texas races. I feel like I think it was 2018 fall. I think it was a race Harvick dominated, and I think I even went to the race. Did I go to the race that he dominated and then later it got encumbered? So I was pissed. I was like, dang, I went to a race. Harvick dominated. It was boring. And his car was illegal. I was like, oh. And this was before they would start disqualifying you for wins. I think it was 2018 fall Texas. I think I was there. I don't remember, honestly. I don't even remember if I was at that race. So if I was, and I don't even remember it, that tells you how boring it was. Are you going to the throwback weekend at Darlington? Possibly. 50-50 at this point. I'd like to. I got a lot of races coming up on my schedule, a lot of things going on this year. I got to kind of pace myself, but I might have a cool opportunity in Darlington coming up. So I might go to that one. Have you played Fall Guys? Is Fall Guys still a thing? Yes, I've played Fall Guys. It's been a while. I played it back when it was at, I guess, its peak. Or maybe it's at its peak now. Is Fall Guys like a big thing right now? Do they like add a bunch of new stuff to it? Thank you, William Spate. I appreciate. How do you feel about Bubba so far this year? I think he's been fine. I think Phoenix this past weekend was his first race this year that I just said, oh, yikes, what did they do? He ran like 28th. I think he finished like 22nd or 23rd. He was a lap down most of the day. Like, this was the first race where I went, ooh, what happened there? Every other race, he's been solid. Obviously, almost won the Daytona 500. I think he's still sitting in the top 20 in points. So I don't know his numbers off the top of my head. I think he eked out a top 10 somewhere. I'm looking up his numbers exactly. Because I feel like they start every race kind of and then by the end he kind of sneaks into the top 10 or top 15. Oh, he wrecked at Auto Club, I do remember that but he was running like top 10 there. So that was kind of an iffy moment. Let's see. He's finished 19th at Fontana, 25th. Oh, that's right. He wrecked at Vegas as well. Oh, I forgot about it. He had dodging Eric Jones. He wrecked then. See, okay. So where's he in points? Is he really top 20 in points despite all that? Man, Daytona must have gone a long way. Yeah, I'm iffy. I'm okay about Bubba Wallace's season so far because at least he's shown top 10, top 15 speed. And if not for, again, the little incident with Keselowski, that was partially his fault. And again, if not for the Eric Jones getting caught up in that incident, which really wasn't his fault, he'd probably be a little bit better right now. Really, Phoenix was the only race this year where I thought, ooh, he was off. So I'd say overall this has been a decent season for Bubba. And it's not like Kurt Busch has blown him away. Kurt Busch, I know he somehow got a 5th place finish at Phoenix this week, but he didn't run there. So, take that for what it's worth. What's Kurt Busch's numbers this year? Kurt Busch is 12th in points, if I'm looking at this correctly. He had an 8th at Fontana. Kurt Busch has been a little better. He's at least gotten the finishes. But neither have been amazing. So it's not like Bubba's getting just blasted by Kurt Busch on a weekly basis. So I'd say Bubba Wallace right now, he gets a passing grade, but he's not blowing me away. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate the super chat. Thoughts on Almirola, fluke or lasting? Thanks, man. Appreciate the super chat. I think Almirola, did he get a top 10 this week? He did not. I think his top 10 streak broke. I think Almirola's solid. I think he has a chance to make a deep playoff run this year, maybe win a race. I wouldn't pick him to win multiple races. But Almirola, he's a solid driver. You know what you're going to get with Eric Almirola. He's not going to make a mess of things. I think last year the cars were just so bad he was pressing a little too hard and made a few mistakes. But that's an anomaly for Eric Almirola based on most of the rest of his career. But his ceiling's low. You don't expect Almirola to go out there and wreck every week. But you also don't expect him to go out there and get you more than maybe one win a year in a good car. So Eric Almirola's fine. I think this year he'll make the playoffs probably, sneak in. I think he'll win a race. SHR just seems better across the board. I think he'll win a race. So I'll say he makes the playoffs, but I don't know if he does much from there. I think, did I pick him to make the playoffs coming into this? I don't think I did. I think I picked him to miss the playoffs this year. I feel like I should just stick with that. I think he misses the playoffs. I think guys like Reddick, Suarez, Chastain are all running too well. Maybe even Jones, if he can stop wrecking with 10 to go. I don't know. Maybe Almirola misses. That's a tough one. Dang. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate the 99-cent super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chuck, as well. Chuck Whitehead for the $1. Thank you for the generous support. And thank you, the Dom Goblin, again. Here's more money to put away for another sponsorship. Thank you. Love seeing Out of the Groove on cars. Are you going to Nashville this year? Can't wait to see the next gen there. Yes, I'll be in Nashville. And yes, thank you. I appreciate the sponsor fund. We do, I think, I gotta send some emails, figure some stuff out, but I think we will be on another Xfinity car maybe here in a few weeks. Gotta figure some things out for sure, but it's fun. Some small teams, giving them support, both a little bit of financial support, not a lot of money. I don't have the money to spend on a giant full car wrap or anything like that, but great to give them some media support, a little bit of sponsor support. I do what I can. I'm just a YouTuber. But I appreciate the support. I'm glad you guys enjoy seeing the logos on their car, because that's what I'm doing it for. Like, go back to my conversation half an hour ago. I put my little Out of the Groove sticker on a car. It's not getting me any new subscribers. Like, nobody on TV is like, wait, what was that? I just saw a zip ice cream. Was that Out of the Groove? What is Out of the Groove? Nobody's like, no, that's not a thing that happens. It's really just a fun thing. It's a fun thing for me to do. It allows me to make some cool content, and I know it's fun for people who've watched the show for a long, long time to see the Out of the Groove logo on the car. Like that, it feels in some ways like the online NASCAR YouTube community getting a chance to like celebrate something. Like, wow, that's a real thing that we've been able to do because of that this community's been able to produce. You know, so that's really why I've done it a couple times. Maybe one day we'll have a big Out of the Groove wrapped car, but I don't know. I feel like that's big money at that point. it's gonna be a little gonna be iffy on that one for a long time, but we'll see. Thanks for the super chat, Jared. Do you gamble? You guys talk about on NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Love you. Well, thank you, Jared. I don't gamble. I've never bet on a single race. I know we don't talk about much on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Darian will go through his betting odds. He'll talk about basically what the odds are. There are a lot of people, more and more every week, every year, who are betting on NASCAR races. And so a lot of people like that information. They like to hear who are the favorites, who are the underdogs, maybe some thoughts on who a good value pick could be. I've never bet on a race, though. I've never bet on anything. I don't think I've been to Las Vegas a couple times. I don't think I've ever gambled even $1. I don't think so. Unless you count as a kid going to like Chuck E. Cheese and gambling tickets or something. I like on like the Deal or No Deal game or one of the other ones. Like, unless you count that. No, but a lot of people do, and I think it's it's fun to talk about sometimes. It's really just talking about predictions and stuff. Thank you, Elijah Leonard. I appreciate it. If you haven't said it yet, what are you looking for in the new Atlanta configuration this week? I'm really just curious to see how the cars race. Like, NASCAR clearly wanted to make this a pack race. They want it to look like Daytona. The drivers sound skeptical that it's going to actually look like that. I think there will be a lot of drafting. I go back. I need to go back and do this. I feel like go back and watch the 2018 Charlotte race, the All-Star race where they put restrictor plates on the car. I feel like if you go back and watch that, I have a feeling that's what this is going to look like. You'll get pack racing on the restarts, like legit pack racing, both lines pushing hard. You'll get that on the restarts, but then it'll kind of single file out, I feel like, and you'll be able to maybe draft and make some moves, but to what extent, I don't know. Obviously, Atlanta now has more banking than Charlotte had in 2018, but the cars are also going to have more horsepower, I believe, in this race than they did back in 2018. So maybe it'll offset and look similar. I don't know. Really, I'm just looking to see how they race. Is it a pack race? Did NASCAR succeed in getting what they want? That's what I'm waiting to see. I'm kind of dreading this weekend. I'll be honest. Like, I've been anxiously looking forward to every race this season. How's the next gen going to handle it? Are there going to be any big like race breaking things in the car? Like, is this going to be a good? Is it going to be? I've been really anxiously watching. But after Auto Club was great, Vegas was great, even Phoenix was okay. Like, okay, I feel like the next gen car is ready for just about any task this year, except Atlanta. Atlanta's like the biggest wild card, and I don't know. I like super speedway racing. I'm not sure they needed to turn Atlanta into a super speedway. They needed, at some point, if not immediately, very soon, they were going to need to repave it. Did they need to reconfigure it? Like, it wasn't all that long ago. SMI reconfigured another 1.5 miles and made it much, much worse, to the point that now IndyCar's thinking of leaving it. Like, SMI doesn't have a great track record when it comes to reconfiguring 1.5 miles, at least not in recent years. So, I don't know. We'll see. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate the super chat. Super curious, how much does the sponsorship cost? I'm not going to tell you because it's my issue. I feel like teams don't want people talking about dollars and cents that way. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing, if word were to get super public about here's what so-and-so paid for this, what paid for that, like, that becomes the going rate. Like, go back to our conversation a year or two ago when Marcus Lemonis was offering $15,000 to every truck team to, like, hey, we'll put our logo on the car, $15,000. Like, in some ways that was good because some small teams that otherwise weren't going to get sponsorship now at least got $15,000. That'll pay for tires and stuff. Like, at least that's good. But at the same time, it also kind of very publicly set the going rate for a truck series sponsorship. And I know there are a lot of Truck Series teams, not even front-running Truck Series teams, that were probably selling sponsorship typically for much higher than $15,000. But now, company comes in, hey, what, this guy got $15,000. I want $15,000. No, we want 30. Oh, $15,000. Like, I feel like if you make it too public, if you start talking about actual dollars and cents, it varies heavily from team to team. It also obviously varies heavily from spot on the car, how big, what track, what race, like all that stuff matters a lot. I'll say this, for putting my little sticker on the car, it's not a crazy amount of money, but if I wanted to do that, if I wanted to put my logo just like on the quarter panel of Kyle Busch's car this week, I don't think I have that much money in my bank account if I had to guess. Maybe I do, but it would be a terrible financial decision. So it would be very, very expensive, depending on the size and scale you're going for. So so I hope you understand that I feel like I should not be saying those numbers publicly. And I don't even know them that well. I know in the couple instances where I've paid and things, but I don't know very publicly. Sorry, my super chats went away. I had to refresh it. Just want to make sure I catch up before I go back to the normal chat as well. You're trying to find a 164 scale Megadeth car. Did they make those? I'd love that if they made those. Thank you, Wolfie on 06. Oh, I hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Just wanted to say I'm a big fan of the channel. Been watching since 2019. Looking forward to seeing you grow. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for the long-time support and the very kind words. I appreciate that. And thank you again, JC1424. Always good to see you. I feel like the last thing you want to do is sponsor an entire car. Then the entire car would be out of the group. God forbid they wreck. Yeah, out of the group, we sponsored 2 cars today. We've had our little sticker on 2 cars. One wrecked. That was unfortunate. The other, Bailey Curry qualified 13th, which is really good for him in that team, and finished top 20, which is very solid for that team. So I feel like I'm kind of 1 for 2. Thank you, Paul. What is your favorite cup paint scheme so far, and which races will you for sure be attending this year? Love your content. Fellow Texan here. That's awesome. Speaking of Texas, I'll be at Circuit of the Americas in a couple weeks. I'll be at Martinsville. And then maybe Darlington in May, and likely Nashville in June. Those are the only ones upcoming that I know for sure that I'll be at. The second half of the year, I'm going to start hopefully planning here before too long, but we'll wait and see a little bit. I don't know for sure. And then what is your favorite cup paint scheme so far this year? There's a few. I really liked Kurt Busch's Money Lion car this year. It looked really good. A lot of people clown me for this, but the Pennzoil car Logano drove at Vegas, that was good. It was simple, but it used the space as well as I've seen anybody else use the space. It looked cool. I always loved the Sunny D car. Stenhouse drove the Sunny D version, and a Stenhouse looking car. A Sunny D looking car a couple weeks ago. It looked good, of course. Honestly, I like the DeWalt cars. I wish the DeWalt logo on the side was a little bigger, but it looks pretty good. Trackhouse has been killing it with the schemes. Yeah, Trackhouse has had some really good ones. Honestly, the Ford number placement, when they first announced it, I was on the fence. I said it felt like it didn't need to be fixed. Like, it wasn't necessarily something that was broken. It was kind of NASCAR paying attention to the wrong thing. But as the designs started to come out, like the actual designs, not the testing designs, because some of those, numbers were super warped, and some of the numbers are warped today, and I don't like that. But at least the numbers, since the real paint schemes have been revealed, the numbers have been large. Still, most of them aren't too far forward. Some are, and I don't like those, but most are not. And I think the sponsors and the teams have become a lot more creative. I think I knew the teams would be creative. There's a lot of great designers out there. They were the ones who were going to be really creative and make great looking paint schemes. But the sponsors, with their very strict brand guidelines, they're the ones who I think really came around on a lot of these and allowed the teams and their creative departments to be a little more ambitious. So I've liked most of them so far. Any chance we could get an official Out of the Groove NASCAR Fantasy League? Possibly. I mean, actually, we could still start up this year, but maybe around the playoff. Maybe we'll do something like that. I'd like to do something like that. We definitely need to do more more community stuff here beyond just YouTube. Like, so much of my day-to-day is focused on what's going on here on YouTube. Then we've got some other platforms like the Out of the Groove Weekly Viewers Guide that I kind of work on a little bit, oversees a lot of that. That's going on. We've got some podcasts, of course, that I'm paying attention to. So there's a lot of cross-platform stuff already, but I'd like to continue to expand that even more. Really build out the groovy community, the groovy gang a bit more, if you will. That's certainly a goal of mine. But also trying to avoid spreading myself too thin too quickly here. I'll be in Austin. Yes, I'll be in Austin, Noah. Hope to see you there. Or I don't know, if you're not there, I'll see you at the next one. I'll see you somewhere, I'm sure, this year. NCAA tournament bracket challenge. Is that out yet? I don't watch college basketball at all. Hold on, let me look it up. Have they like come out with the seedings and everything? NCAA bracket 2022. I'm not gonna I don't know the thing. I can't share my screen or like show you guys this. I don't know why it's not working. But I'm just gonna glance at it and I'll tell you who wins it all. All right, here we go. Where are we at? How do I find the bracket? Let's go to ESPN. All right. All right, who are the 1 seeds? Let me just start there. Gonzaga. Okay, they're always good. Arizona. Baylor. Didn't they win it all last year? Did Baylor win it last year? Kansas Jayhawks. Okay. 2 seeds. Auburn, Duke, Kentucky, Villanova. Okay, there's no surprises yet. These are like all the schools that are always good. Jeez Louise. Purdue, Tennessee, Texas Tech, Wisconsin. Those are the 3 seeds. All right. 4 seeds, Arkansas, Illinois, Providence, the Providence Friars. I like that. UCLA, then you got UConn. Houston, U of H is good. They always have a good basketball team. I kind of like Houston. My alma mater, University of Texas, is a 6 seed. I knew they were pretty good this year. I'm just going to pick all Texas teams in the Final Four. I don't even know if this is mathematically possible. We're going to go U of H, Texas, Baylor, and wasn't Texas Tech in there somewhere? Texas Tech, yes. That's my Final Four. Thanks, Turnpike. Tell us about these podcasts you're checking out. I think you know of a certain one that's quite good. But yeah, we got all sorts of podcasts on the podcast network. Trying to continue it as much. What do you guys call your podcast, Turnpike? The worst. Do you call it the worst NASCAR podcast? That's like your little tagline. You aren't fair to yourselves. It could be too self-deprecating. How much more have you gotten into Formula One lately? Not at all. I've been very bad. I have not paid any attention to Formula One this off season, but I'll watch some more as the season starts. I'm telling you guys, I've watched maybe 5 F1 races, like start to finish in my life. Bits and pieces of others. Thanks, GN. How'd you get Dave Moody on the show? Great on MRN. That was actually a partnership deal. So I did a couple sponsored episodes for SiriusXM, actually. And then they asked, hey, would you like to have Dave Moody on your show? We can get you Dave Moody. And I was like, sure. Like, I don't know that me and Dave Moody have a super, like a huge crossover in our audience. He's been doing it a long, long time. That's my nice way of saying that he is a little older. Like I think he is more attractive to an older fan base, which there are a lot of fans older than me that watch Out of the Groove and that talk to me at the racetrack every week, and I think that's awesome. But I wasn't sure how much crossover there would be there. But when they said, hey, we can get you Dave Moody for an episode, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Absolutely love to hear him chime in on some stuff. And I thought it was kind of cool because that's something I've wanted to do on Out of the Groove more this year is bring in the occasional like guest panelist or like guests like that who would kind of come in, and it's not just like an interview where it's like, oh, how was your Ford this weekend? Like, it's not that. It's more of a, hey, so what have you heard about this track losing a date, or what have you heard about the Fords? Are they ahead of Chevys right now? Like, where are they winning right now? Like, I think that'd be kind of fun to more frequently this year bring in kind of guests that are that way, and Dave fit that bill, and it was cool to have him on the shows. That was the first time I'd really met him and like said anything to him, and he's a true professional, as I guess you'd expect. Thank you, Hunter was here, 517 for the 10. I appreciate that, very kind of you. Any ideas on how NASCAR can solve the issues with lugs and traction coming out of spins? Love the content. Thanks for being a big part of helping me fall in love with the sport these past 6 years. Thank you so much, Hunter. I love to hear that. That's super cool. Any ideas how NASCAR can solve the issues with lugs? I appreciate you asking. I don't know for sure. I know things they can't do. And I don't know this. I've heard other people who are much smarter say these things. Like, I don't think they can add inner liners to the tires, which is what they had with the old tires. There's just not enough room, really, because they're lower profile. There's just not really room to put something in there like that. Then the wheels themselves are not quite as durable. They're made of aluminum now. Now, the single locking lug nut, the idea behind it was to keep the load even so, it would not break. But as a result, when it comes loose and shakes things around and stuff, it's now easier to break. So, again, I know what they can't do. At this point, I don't think they can't go back to last year's wheels and that whole system. Like, that would require completely overhauling the cars, and it would race differently, and it would just all the work that's gone into the new car the last few years would basically be thrown out the window. So they can't do that. They got to figure out how to make these current wheels work. I don't think they're going to change the materials, and I think at this point there's no lot. Even if they wanted to, I don't think they could. Even if they had the money to, I don't know that the supply chain and the materials would be available for them to actually do it. So, in other words, I know what they can't do. What can they do? I don't know. I think the drivers are figuring it out. I think the drivers have learned pretty quickly that, hey, if you spin out, keep the wheels turning a little bit. If you let's let them sit and drag, better chance they blow out and a better chance you get stalled. We haven't seen anyone stall, I don't think, since Auto Club. We've seen flat tires, but even Eric Jones was able to limp that car to pit road. Christopher Bell had a flat tire after his spin, and I think he only lost maybe one lap. Still, again, he had to limp it to pit road. And remember, Bell spun out right past the exit of pit, or the entrance to pit road, so he had to go all the way around on a flat tire. Even with the old car, he probably would have lost a lap. So the teams have adapted. The drivers have adapted to the flat tire problem. The Corey LaJoie loose wheel braking problem. I don't know. I'd be interested to talk to some pit crews. Are the guns inconsistent? Are the guns unreliable? Or are they just getting used to something new? The little bit I have heard from pit crews, it sounds like with this new car and the single lug nut, they're still getting used to the feel. I don't remember where I heard this weekend. Maybe it was on a podcast. Maybe it was on TV. Maybe it was on the radio. I don't remember where I heard this last weekend. But somewhere I heard that some of the crew guys were saying with the old car, when they'd hit 5 lug nuts, they got so used to that feeling of putting them on, taking the wheel on, putting the wheel on, that they could usually tell when something was loose. I didn't get that last one tight. Ooh, this might be trouble. It's just one, maybe it's okay, whatever. With this new car, because it's so new, because they haven't made as many pit stops yet, it sounds like some of these crew guys still, they hit it on, car goes off, and I think I got it tight, wheel falls off. Well, I thought I got it tight. They're still figuring it out. They're not used to it. In other words, there's a long-winded way for me saying they're just not used to the feel of the new nuts yet, so they don't always know if it's loose or if it's fully secured. I think when the wheel fell off or the wheel broke on LaJoie's car, I think the crew guys were probably just as surprised as he was. So is that a gun problem? Is that a pit crew problem? Is that an actual next gen problem? I don't know. So it's a long answer, a long way of saying I really don't know. So I don't know. There's a lot smarter people than me working on those issues right now. And I think now that the West Coast swing is over, we'll see NASCAR hopefully actually make some progress on maybe, if not a parts change, maybe a procedural change at the track in case we do see some of these flat tires rear their ugly heads again. And hopefully that's enough to at least mostly alleviate the problem. It hasn't been a huge deal. We had, who was it? Was it Justin Haley who had a wheel break at Fontana? Did anyone break a wheel at Las Vegas? I don't remember. And then Corey LaJoie, obviously, this weekend at Phoenix. But only 2 or 3 broken wheels through the first 4 or 5 races. I hate to say you can live with that, but I feel like you can kind of live with that, especially if it was just a pit crew error, I don't know. It's a tough one. That's an area that I don't have a lot of expertise in. I'll be completely honest. Kyle Busch went flat during practice at Vegas. Yeah, well, that's the one he wrecked then, didn't he? It flat and went straight into a spin. That was just he probably ran over debris or something. Thank you, Grayson Brown. Will you be at Atlanta this weekend? I will not, unfortunately, but I know a few friends that will be there. I know they're excited to see the track in person, race in person, this new configuration for the first time. I'll be watching it on TV like most everyone else. I'm sure it'll be interesting if nothing else. Do you play any other games non-racing related? I have not been playing many video games lately. I feel like since college, I just haven't had time for it. I feel like such an adult. Like I'm trying to even think, what's the last like big game that I played? I don't have a PS5 or anything yet. The only reason I'd want a PS5 is to be able to play Ratchet and Clank. I keep hearing rumors. I'm so embarrassing. I every few weeks I still like Google and look at the latest speculation around the old Sly Cooper video game series. Any old PS2 and just briefly PS3 fans out there, like Sly Cooper games, those are my childhood. I'm so nostalgic. I'm so sad. Every few weeks I'll just like do some Google search and has anything new? And the last few months there've actually been some like fairly credible rumors and reports that they might actually make another Sly Cooper game, which has me freaking nuts if it actually happens. I'm not counting my chickens until they hatch. Remember, they made it a full-on. You guys don't remember this. I'm talking to like one person right now. They made a full-on, fully CG, like 3-minute movie trailer for Sly Cooper in like 2014, and the movie never came out. They did a full trailer, announced the whole thing. They even announced like a release year, and it never came out. So unless the game is literally on my shelf, I'm not convinced that it's happening. But no, I haven't played any video games. I'm trying to think, what was the last big game I played? I used to play a ton of video games in high school and college. I used to get like almost every big game. And I was always a PlayStation guy primarily. I loved a lot of the PlayStation exclusives. The last big game I played may have been Last of Us 2. And that was over a year ago. Oh no, I played a game on my PC recently. I played or like a few months ago. I played Control. It was a big Steam sale. I played that. That was pretty good. I got a Switch not that long ago and played. I bought Sonic Colors, the remaster, and played Sonic Colors. I haven't actually finished it yet. I got distracted, but I've almost finished Sonic Colors on the Switch. I played that way back in the day on the Wii when it came out in like 2010, but I haven't played it hadn't played it since then. So I was like, I'll get Sonic Colors. And then what else did I get on the Switch? Hot Wheels Unleashed. I have not put as many hours in that game as I wanted. I've only played probably like 12 hours of Hot Wheels Unleashed, but it's really good. I want to play more. One of my best friends also has it, so we've been playing. Like we'll play it together sometimes. But those are the most recent games I've played. I did go see Uncharted the other day, or like a couple weeks ago. There are a lot of movies coming out this year that I am very, very excited about. I've already seen a couple of them. I saw Uncharted. Grew up on the Uncharted games, loved them. I saw them with my best friend, who was also a big Uncharted fan. He like introduced me to Uncharted when we were kids, so we went and saw it together. It was very cute, and it was good. Like I still think Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg are a little young to be Nathan Drake and Sully, but it worked. I thought their chemistry was great on camera. I thought they were funny. I thought it was an entertaining movie. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but the final couple of like big action battle sequences felt very surreal. It kind of felt like a video game, which I appreciate. I thought it looked and felt very Uncharted, even though Tom Holland was a little young. And then I saw the Batman about a week ago, and it was also good. I don't really know how I feel about the Batman. Like, it looks gorgeous. It's probably my favorite looking Batman movie. I think Robert Pattinson is solid as Batman, and again, this really isn't a spoiler, but he is in costume, like as Batman, for like 2.5 of the 3 hours of runtime. Like I'm used to the Christopher Nolan Batmans with Christian Bale, where like most of those movies he's not in the Batman costume. Like most of the time he's Bruce Wayne or he's doing whatever. Like, and that's fine. There's still great movies, but Robert Pattinson is like in the costume almost the entire movie. Like he's doing everything dressed as Batman, and he looks badass. That's what I'm saying. This movie looks gorgeous, looks great. The characters look great. The costumes look great. The performances are all very good. Story-wise, it's dark, as you expect a Batman movie to be. There are things about the story I like. There are things about it I don't like. Who directed it? Matt Reeves directed it, and it's 3 hours long, and it didn't need to be. It could have easily been 220, like a more standard blockbuster action movie length. So, it dragged a little bit, but I love Batman. Batman was my favorite superhero as a kid, so I have no problem sort of engrossing myself in the Batman universe for 3 hours. But I can understand how a lot would feel that it dragged. And I felt like I feel like some of the messaging and stuff in it was just very basic, which, I mean, again, it's a superhero movie. It's not supposed to be the most profound thing in the world, but it was good. Anyway, Uncharted was good. Batman was good. I'm excited for Sonic 2. Comes out, like, I don't remember when. I think pretty soon. What else comes out later this year? There's a ton of wacky movies that come out later this year. Oh, the Buzz Lightyear movie. I'm going to watch that. There's at least one more I'm forgetting that comes out here in the next few months that I'm very excited about. Someone will remind me in the chat, I'm sure. Thanks for the super chat, Dawson. Do you think Iowa can get a date on the Cup schedule? Maybe. I think it's possible. It's just Iowa. I know there's a lot of race fans out in the Midwest, but Iowa's just, I've never been to Iowa, but from people I know who've been to Iowa, they say it is just cornfields. Like, it's kind of a stereotype, but apparently it's fairly true. It's just a lot of cornfields. It's a cool track. I think it's maybe a slightly more entertaining version of Richmond, but yeah, it's not one that I'm going to be like scratching and clawing, like banging on NASCAR for put Iowa on the schedule. I'm not going to like lead that charge. If it happens, cool. If it doesn't, okay. Let me catch back up on some of the regular chat. NHRA, they make video games? I knew that. I've never played them. That's cool. Is Out of the Groove plan on sponsoring another car sometime this year? We'll see. We're not going to have any big Out of the Groove wraps, like full cars anytime soon, I don't think. But yeah, we might have another smallish decal here or there at some point. Morbius. Oh yeah, Morbius. I'm not as interested in seeing Morbius. I don't know. Like, yeah, that is coming out pretty soon. I'm probably not going to see Morbius. I'm not a big Jared Leto fan. Like, I don't really understand why he keeps. I don't really understand why he keeps getting roles. Like, I've only seen him in like 2 or 3 things. I saw him in obviously Suicide Squad, where he's Joker, and that was not my favorite Joker interpretation, I must say. I don't feel like that's a real hot take. And then he was in, I saw the Blade Runner movie that came out a few years ago. He has a fairly small role in that, but he's in it, and he's fine, but his character's just kind of there. Like, he's not, he didn't, like, stand out to me. Have I seen him in anything else? I don't think so. And I don't really know anything about the Morbius story, so I'm probably not going to see that. I don't remember what other, there's at least one other big movie. Let me, like, Google upcoming movie releases. There's something that I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to see that even if it's embarrassing. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, maybe. I'm pretty sure my girlfriend's going to want to see that. Oh, Jurassic World Dominion. Yeah, I'm probably going to want to see that. Yeah, that might have been the one I was thinking of. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. When does that come out? October 7th? So that's a ways away, but I'll probably see that as well. Into the Spider-Verse was very impressive. Dang, all these movies, man, I am feeding into the Hollywood system, aren't I? Goodness gracious, I'm so embarrassed. All these movies that I want to see this year are like based on existing properties. We all complain, Hollywood's not original anymore. Why can't they make something new? And yet here I am, God, I can't wait for Sonic 2 and Buzz Lightyear and Into the Spider-Verse and Jurassic World 30. Damn, Hollywood knows exactly what I'm going to do. They know my every move before I even know it. I hate being a slave to the machine. Thanks for the super chat, Jonathan2380. Kyle Busch has 3 top 10s out of 4 races. Do you think he can get a streak going? Absolutely. I think Atlanta is going to be a wacky race. A good chance the streak gets broken here just because it's going to be a weird race. But then he's got, Circuit of the Americas after that, and then is Martinsville the very next race? What's after? No, what's after Circuit of the Americas? Schedule. I should have this memorized at this point. Richmond. That's right, Richmond. He's good at Richmond. So, yeah, I could see him run off a streak, but I don't think you need to worry about top 10s with Kyle Busch. He'll get a lot of those this year. You need to worry about how many wins he gets. How many playoff points does he get? What is the worst Hollywood movie in your opinion? I don't know. I feel like I should have like a strong opinion on this. I was a film guy, in quotes, but worst movie. Gosh, I feel like it'll hit me later after this stream. But right now, off the top of my head, I don't have like a worst movie. I've never like gone into a movie or come out of a movie just like pissed off. Like, why did I see that? What was that trying to say? Like, I don't think I've ever had that happen. I don't like react super strongly to things. I'm a fairly even keel person usually. It takes a lot to really rile me up. And movies typically don't do that. Make a King of the Hill movie? They should if they haven't. Oh, that's another movie that comes out this year. Is it coming to theaters? Hold on, I'm looking this up before I say anything, before I embarrass myself again. Oh gosh, wait. Is this coming to theaters? I don't know. I assume it's coming to theater. Yes, it's going to the. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm probably gonna want to see the Bob's Burgers movie. God. Another movie based on an already existing property. Jeez Louise. I may not see that one in theaters. That may be one I see. It'll probably be on like HBO Max within like a month. I'll probably wait and watch it then. Do you think Casey Kane is a Hall of Famer? I like Casey Kane a lot. I do not think he's a Hall of Famer. How many wins did he get in his career? Like 18? Let me look it up. I feel like I know that number. Chat's going to tell me before I Google it. That's how this usually works. There's a huge Casey Kane fan or two in there. Yeah, 18 wins. Ooh, look at me. My memory is impressive. 18 wins. And, didn't win the Daytona 500, didn't win a championship in the Cup Series. He's a good driver, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, unfortunately. It's cool. He's running a full World of Outlaws schedule this year, right? I think so. I think that's pretty cool. He's still racing full time in front of big crowds. I don't know how he's done this year. I know they've raced a few. They've done a few races already, right? So that's cool. See, I like that. Every animated comedy sucks. Bob's Burgers is good. See, I was never I'm not a South Park fan. Really not a Family Guy fan or any of the Seth MacFarlane shows. I've never gotten into it. King of the Hill was a little before my time. I've gone back and watched some King of the Hill. Same with The Simpsons. And yeah, they're funny. I get why people like them. But they're still not really my speed. I like Bob's Burgers. I do. There's a lot of trashy adult animated content out there these days. If you go on Netflix or something, there is so much garbage out there. There's some good shows. Like BoJack Horseman. I enjoyed the first couple seasons of that. And that just got way too depressing. But Bob's Burgers is a good show. I like Bob's Burgers. We'll start to wrap things up. We've been going for an hour and a half. My voice is shot. After every race weekend, I'm sure you guys are like this as well. My voice is just dead for a couple of days, and so I was risking a lot by going live. But I hadn't done a live stream in over a month, maybe a couple of months. And so I think the last live stream I did was our botched Daytona NASCAR Weekly podcast, where we tried to stream from a lake house in the middle of nowhere, and that did not go very well. So it was good to do a stream from my home where I knew for sure I would have reliable, high-speed internet access and could chat with you guys. It was great to see so many familiar names and familiar faces in the chat for the last hour and a half, and hopefully we do this again soon. I don't know that I'm going to make this a regular thing, but it's fun to do from time to time. It's fun to catch up with you guys, especially after it's been a busy few weeks. I've been to a lot of races the last few weeks. I've gotten to see a lot of you guys in person, put some, like I said earlier, some faces to names, which is pretty cool. Really makes this whole community feel very real. This is obviously real. This feels real when I'm reading all your comments, when I see your comments on my videos, on Twitter, wherever. It's very real then, but it's even more real when we're interacting in person. When I see fans at the track, it's my favorite part of going to these races these days. So I appreciate you guys who come up and say hi, who watch the streams, who leave comments. I really do appreciate it. This wouldn't be nearly as fun without you guys. It wouldn't even be possible without you guys. What's a YouTube channel without people watching? Wouldn't be possible without you guys. So I appreciate all of your support. Do I have my theme song still in here? I do. Ooh. Yes, classic. Classic. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to everyone who sent in super chats as well. I truly appreciate your very generous support. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me for the last little while. Not sure when the next one will be, but hopefully before the next month or so. I think I'm hosting the NASCAR Weekly podcast next week. So we'll be live again before too long. We'll do one of these kind of late night Q&As again before long as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for the support. I'm gonna go. I don't drink tea, but maybe I'll make an exception tonight. Something to save my voice. I'll go do that. Have a great night, y'all. See you tomorrow.